all sorts of things. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I don't have anything on my calendar today. Suddenly all those meetings I had lined up in the next few weeks, I don't have to go. And
which is exhilarating for about 4 days.
Right. Yeah. And then you turn into an alcoholic and you no longer drink just in your basement. Hey,
thank you, James, for the call out. Small business Safari. I got my bourbon in the air, boys. Go check us out on the YouTube. Thank you for the shout out. We're in our basement drinking beer. Meatloaf bomb.
See, we used to make fun of kids. Like I was really into flight sim at one point, and there were these people that were into that who were more nerdy than I was, and they get on, they just be like, I gotta get the plane out back from the gate, or else you're gonna cause a gate delay or whatever. And so it's so weird. Like these kids would have these timetables. They try to like fly their plane on the computer based on like when the real flight was happening in real life. And every once in a while you hear in the background like, "Mom, more Hot Pockets." So,
Mom, Hot Pockets. Meatloaf. It's awesome.
Welcome to the Small Business Safari, where I help guide you to avoid those traps, pitfalls, and dangers that lurk when navigating the wild world of small business ownership. I'll share those gold nuggets of information and invite guests to help accelerate your ascent to that mountaintop of success. It's a jungle out there, and I want to help you traverse through the levels of owning your own business that can get you bogged down and distract you from hitting your own personal and professional goals. So strap in, adventure team, and let's take a ride through the safari and get you to the mountaintop.
Alan, one of the greatest things about life is...
Oh, please tell me.
What? I can't remember. Guys, no, here's the greatest thing about life. We're always learning, man. Here's why we do it. We've been doing this thing now for so long, and I just had somebody come up to me the other day and said, "Hey, man, listen to your podcast." Instead of just going, "Oh, thank you," I said, "Can you tell me why?" Not being needy, right?
Yeah.
But I said, no, let me ask you that next question. Why? And he said, "You know what? You guys make me laugh, and I learn something every time I listen to you guys. And, you say, hey, if you can learn something, that's on you." He goes, "You're right." And, he goes, it's a good time. I drive around in my truck. I go in between appointments here in Atlanta. We got a lot of traffic. I'm like, "I got it, man. Quit talking. Because this is my show." No, I'm kidding. I didn't say that. I kept going. I let him go. I didn't let him.
I really find that hard to believe.
No, I did. I shut him up because I was like, "Hey, dude, whose show is this anyway? Don't try to steal my thunder. Huh? You're talking to Big Daddy." Guys, we got another great episode for you. Let's tee it up. Let's have some fun. Let's get going. But before we do that, Alan,
what?
What's interesting in life? As we learned.
What is interesting in life?
What we have learned is I just rolled out my word of the year to my company,
which was enema.
It was actually close. It was ascend.
That's right. Not ascend.
Either way, you're making a deposit.
That's James Lang, bro. The bleachers coming in soon. We'll bring him in out of the green room, but that's why Johnny Carson let his people listen to the green room before they came out, make sure they were part of the show. James good at it. And we did ascend, and we did the Mount Everest theme, and we rolled it out to our technicians today. And what was interesting is I watched them, and it was a 17-minute video that my general manager, Kirk, put together. And I told him, I'm like, dude, that seems a little long.
It's like 16 and a half minutes too long for you.
I thought for my technicians, but for me, of course. Yeah. So he said, watch it. And I said, hey, the one that we rolled out to our office staff had the dead bodies in it going up Mount Everest. I said, where are those? He goes, oh, you guys told me those were too gruesome. I said, put those fuckers back in there. I said, that's what people remember. You work with us or you die. That's what I want people to know. No, that's not what it was. But, and that's the thing.
That's the word of the year, enema.
Ascend. It's ascend. Ascend. It's that sweet bay. So, guys, here we go. We're already getting started, making this thing happen. We're drinking our bourbon on the Small Business Safari. Don't forget to tap the app. Tell people about us. Go out there, rate, review us, follow. Because we're doing this for you. We're helping you out. We got a great sponsor. We're going to get a couple more sponsors coming soon. That helps us a ton. But you know what? We're doing this to help everybody, that give you all the information we didn't have when we started our own businesses. And today we've got a great one. We got James Lang coming on. Overlang Venture Partners. You know why I knew that? Because it was on his background. You like that. It did good. But you know what? Before we get on here, James, you got a really good story and Alan's over there going, dude, you always leave in the green room. James, before we get into this, you were going 100 miles an hour.
And James, we will get to talk at some point.
Hang on. Whose show is this?
It's yours.
Can you let James talk, please? All right. So James, good sign language, and we'll tell everybody what you're saying. You're going 100 miles an hour. Talk about the business you were in and what that 100 miles an hour felt like when you were in it, in the rush.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you said we have to be on your show or else we die. The guy in the green room with a gun, he said that either be funny or die. So, there's some conflicting messages there, but I'm very happy to be here. And yeah, no, this is going to be fun. So, 1,000 miles to zero.
Broadcasting.
We'll be true crime soon. James, you kill anybody that we should know about?
Not that I would admit to on camera. Like, come on, man. You can tell theoretical stories though. Like, for example, did you know there's a satellite that covers the entire world every 24 hours? It looks for 6 foot long by 2 foot long holes in freshly dug areas. So it identifies places for police departments to look.
Are you serious?
Yeah, serious. There you go.
Chris is broken. You know what? I thought James was
that was a record.
Obviously, I read the wrong bio on James because I was like, where the hell did that come from?
That's intense.
Well, I'm just a nerd. I just look into things, and maybe I have a few bodies buried in my 5 foot by 1 foot graves. But
so we all learned something today. If you're going to bury somebody, don't do it in a 6 foot by 2 foot.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it maybe 3 foot by 2 foot
or 6 by 6.
Yeah, and preferably grow some like really rare plants, like a cacti. And Scottsdale is a great way to go because they can't dig those up. So
duly noted. Thank you, James. Dropping bombs. I am not going to say that's a gold nugget because AI will pick that up and put that as a gold nugget. Or kill somebody, put it there. We're not doing that. So, Cindy, make sure we don't do that on that. James, I want to go back to that adrenaline rush of being in the med tech space that you were in, because I felt like I was in a similar role before I left corporate America. But I tell everybody how that was going.
Yeah, so there are some things I didn't tell you before the show that were kind of fun. And so I still have some surprises for you. So one is in that med tech space. So med tech is a broad term, right? It can mean a lot of things. Well, I like to say that I'm tangentially and maybe even directly in some cases responsible. No, we'll stick with indirectly. That's better. Responsible for about 100,000 men in America getting an erection without Viagra. So, people who used Viagra, sildenafil, those types of things, there's an alternative, which is wave therapy, which is using what's called LASWT. So it's low intensity extracorporeal shock wave therapy. Basically sounds like you're zapping your wiener, but you're not. You're just using really powerful sound waves, energy waves to trigger in the soft tissue of your body angiogenesis, neurogenesis. So these things, like basically your body overcompensates. It acts like it had like a big trauma injury. Anyways, they use this in sports medicine all the time. So when guys like tear a muscle or have some sort of injury, they'll use shockwave therapy. They'll put in this device that has basically a really heavy impact internally, where it's creating this energy wave that travels down a tip through stainless steel, through the skin into your soft tissue, creates that micro trauma, and your body overcompensates and it heals faster. Turns out, if you do that below the belt for guys, it grows back that vascular network. So you're going to increase blood flow, which is what Viagra does anyways. All it's doing is temporarily expanding those vessels, allowing blood in. So it allows guys to basically get back to where they were in their teens. So that was our product. We did 30 million in 1 year. Why
didn't you do more?
Experience. I mean, well, I got tired of being the guy that like people talk to and they're like, you have that creepy uncle in your family who comes up to you at the family, gathering, and it's like, hey, are you the guy? You got a sample? Could you just mail one to me? It's like, dude, I did not want to think about your sex life with Aunt Velma. I'm good.
That is the worst. So seriously, do you have my mailing address? No.
Yeah, I do actually. And I'm glad that we agreed to an exchange ahead of this podcast. So I can't wait to get my enema and ascend to a higher calling. But there you go. Yeah, we'll do a heap and trade.
Hiring the right people shouldn't feel overwhelming. At Smart Hire Solutions LLC, they take a smarter, more human approach to hiring. Smart Hire Solutions helps you get the right candidates, carefully vets, presents only the best fits for sales roles, lead technicians, key team members, in home services, construction, and many more. No resume pile nightmares, no wasted time. Today's labor market is tough to navigate, and having the Smart Hire Solutions LLC team on board makes it smooth sailing. Founder Tina McKenna brings decades of real-world experience, not only in recruiting, but in marketing. She runs this thing like a business that's involved with you. Check out their fresh approach at yoursmarthire.com. That's yoursmarthire.com. Or connect with Tina McKenna on LinkedIn. That's Tina McKenna with Smart Hire Solutions, LLC, yoursmarthire.com.
Really? So, all right. Obviously, wow, you talk about, I did not know that one was coming either.
I know.
100 miles an hour, just rocking it. You're going.
Yep.
You're going. And you said you got the exit opportunity, it sounds like, and you took it. Were you actively looking for the exit opportunity, or did it present itself?
No. So one of the challenges was in that moment where you're going 1,000 miles an hour, one of the reasons you're going 1,000 miles an hour is because in that company, as we kind of hockey sticked and we were building out, you had shareholders who were minor shareholders and maybe some relatively, like at the most 20% was what one person had in the company. This group of shareholders kind of packed up together and they decided that they wanted to do a hostile takeover. So I woke up one morning to an email from a group of shareholders saying to me as the chief operating officer, hey, you work for us now, give us the keys. And in that moment, you're like, okay, I've been managing all the bullshit drama in the boardroom and among the shareholders, keeping that from coming and trickling down into the team and causing morale issues. I've been doing that for a while. Now I'm dealing with something where either way, no matter which side of this group I pick, I'm going to end up in court dealing with a whole bunch of depositions and why'd you give them the keys or why'd you lock them out or whatever the case may be. So I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm got enough. I'm exiting the roller coaster. So it wasn't a planned exit by any means. It was this moment of like, I'm about to get screwed. And I've already been screwed so many times at this job with the difficulties of building a startup and all the things that come with it that, you know, I'm done. I'm ready to exit. I'm ready to get off the roller coaster. So yeah, I left very unexpectedly. And in that moment, you go from, you know, the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, you're putting out fires. You're dealing with whatever drama, you're traveling to different conferences, you're doing different events, you know, going overseas, dealing with manufacturers, all sorts of things. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I don't have anything on my calendar today. Suddenly all those meetings I had lined up for the next few weeks, you know, I don't have to go. And
which is exhilarating for about 4 days.
Right. Yeah. And then you turn into an alcoholic and you no longer drink just in your basement. Yeah.
Hey, thank you, James, for the call out. Small business story. I got my bourbon in the air, boys. Go check us out on the YouTube. Thank you for the shout out. We're in our basement drinking beer. Meatloaf, Bomb.
See, we used to make fun of kids. Like I was really into flight sim at one point, and there were these people that were into that who were more nerdy than I was, and they get on, they just be like, you know, yeah, you know, I gotta get the plane out back from the gate, or else you're gonna cause a gate delay or whatever. And so it's so weird. Like these kids would have these timetables. They try to like fly their plane on the computer, based on like when the real flight was happening in real life. And every once in a while you hear in the background like, "Mom, more Hot Pockets." Yeah.
Mom, Hot Pockets.
Yep.
Meatloaf. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Great reference.
Absolutely.
Love how you brought that in. All right. So you did. You said I exit. Boom.
Yeah.
It's not glorious for at least until you get your gaming out of your system.
4 days.
Yeah, 4 days.
Yeah.
So now what?
Yeah. So that's the weird thing is like you hit, it's like a light switch. You know, suddenly the lights are off, camera's off, you know, you're doing your own thing. And obviously, you know, you're going to start figuring out like, what's my next chapter? What am I going to do next? So I was in Scottsdale at the time, moved out to Denver to help a friend out, who is facing a foreclosure. And I was like, well, like, I don't have to be anywhere, you know, I can easily move and, help out a friend, but also get close to Denver Tech Center, DTC, lots of opportunities there. So win-win. And, after moving out here, I suddenly start having this really bad chest pain. And I thought, like, I'm having a heart attack. This is terrible. And it turns out that wasn't the thing. It turns out that when I was born prematurely at a naval base in Guam, they just didn't have the equipment, the tools, the things like surfactant that you need to help with lung development and kind of make up for that lost time in the womb. They didn't have that stuff there, and it was an 18-hour flight to Tripler, so it just wasn't going to happen in the time frame that was needed. Anyways, my point is, this created kind of like a ticking time bomb for me that I didn't fully understand. I knew I had some abnormalities. I would get pneumonias more often than other people. I'd wheeze more. My 23andMe said I'm very unlikely to be an Olympic athlete, things like that. But all of a sudden, these chest pressures, start happening. And so I go in, and it just so happens, National Jewish Hospitals here in Denver. Big fan of the Jews. The funny ones are out in Hollywood, dealt with them a lot in LA. Turns out they're the ones that don't have a sense of humor become doctors. And I've learned that because like half the jokes I make there when I go there do not land. But, I keep making them because I have no standards. And anyways, but it turns out National Jewish Hospital, one of the top respiratory research hospitals in the country. And so we literally create like a 3D, well, not we, they create a 3D scan of my chest and understand like what structurally is happening. So I learned that, at first, like when you get hit with that information, you're like, okay, they're thinking lung transplant. So you're thinking, okay, the expiration date on my milk carton just got a lot sooner. And so, okay, cool. What do we need to do? And so we're ramping up, doing all the testing and everything. Turns out my lungs, the actual physical lungs themselves are great. Don't need a transplant. Great news. So what's the issue? Well, it turns out my trachea, when I exhale, it's supposed to open up when you exhale to let air out. Mine collapses and causes friction or resistance. So combine that with the GI issues related to the same, premature birth scenario. You have both fluid and gases or air that get trapped in the chest over time. And so basically what I have for now is this kind of wave cycle of pain. So imagine you have all these opportunities, you're talking to recruiters, you're near Denver Tech Center. It's like, awesome. I can basically walk in anywhere I want and have a pretty good job coming out of there and figure out the next chapter and not have to deal with a bunch of broke dicks. So, it was really an exciting time. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to take advantage of some of those opportunities, but that's when serendipitously, not only do I happen to live near National Jewish Hospital, but one of my best friends from Virginia Beach, where I grew up, we both made Eagle Scout together back in like 2009. He happens to live out here, and we just crossed paths.
Project.
Yeah, hang on 1 minute, man.
Oh, I did too.
Serious props on Eagle Scout because Ellen and I both know somebody who's done this. I'm probably not the same guy, but we are very proud of people who do that. Here in our town, we're in a suburb of Atlanta. In fact, I think you gave an award to one of the Eagle Scouts.
I probably did back when I used to be somebody.
You were somebody.
So what was your project?
What was your project?
Yeah, well, I did too. So I did one and I didn't do the paperwork correctly. So I learned about bureaucracy at a young age because it turns out that you have to get your Eagle Scout project approved by the council first. So we did this improvement project to a path near the church where our troop met and put in a bench and stuff like that. But again, went to go like turn in my paperwork and say, hey, time for my Eagle Scout board review. And they suddenly go, you don't quite qualify because you didn't sign this paperwork and didn't file this in the timely manner and blah, 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 blah. So it's like, okay, great. Way to be an a-hole. I guess I'll go do more good in the community. So
I think you just got your merit badge in how to work with the government.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's exactly what it was like. They were like, did you fill it out in triplicate? Do you file your TPS report? Anyways, that's an Office Space reference for anyone that didn't catch it. But
I got that one.
Anyways,
a big fan for me.
Yes, love that show. And there's actually some relevance to what we'll talk about today. But the next project I did, there was an Indian reservation about an hour and a half away from where I lived. And that every year, one of the struggles that the people would have on the reservation is, they lived just far enough from civilization to where it wasn't worth the cost of gas to go work at the McDonald's that was closest to them. So they're in this weird place where it's like, if you go and work off the reservation, the only jobs available within a reasonable radius are minimum wage service type jobs. And if you add up the cost of gas and childcare, you're losing money by working there if you're a parent, especially if you're a single parent. So there was this challenge of like, how do you help these people kind of build a system? They hadn't figured out how to build a casino yet, I guess. But we worked with them, and what we did was we raised money and we ended up buying school supplies for all of the youth on that reservation, so that was something that was an expense the families didn't have to worry about, and everybody had what they needed to succeed in the classroom. So that was our second project, and that one was way easier than building a path and installing a bench. This was just going door to door and going like, "Can you give money to Indians, please?" It was really easy compared to the physical labor of building that.
Got another merit badge, and how to win city council and then eventually try to run for state governor, because we had a Brad Raffensperger on many episodes ago, but talking about this. Man, great stories. All right, James, let's get back to what are you doing today?
Let me weave it back together. So I talked about medical issue, figuring that out. Now on palliative care, still have some limitations around what I can do. Run into my best friend from high school. And
I didn't mean to short circuit that. I figured you were completely healthy and all set to go again. So
no, I told you I'm prematurely 80. I'm kicking it. So, we're living life. So
keep fucking rocking, big boy. Let's keep going. Yeah. You're going to make this thing happen.
I know. We're having fun. So run across my buddy Jeff, who the whole time I had been in the operations marketing side of the world, because before I was at the MedTech, I was a freelance writer, then did SEO, content writing, then digital marketing for a bunch of lawyers, which I definitely did something horrible in a past life, because, you do marketing for personal injury lawyers. They're a bunch of dicks. Then you go into the MedTech space and you're fixing a bunch of broken dicks. So it's just, you can't get away from it. But then got out here, and my buddy Jeff, the whole time I'd been on that saga, he had been in the AI and big data space. So he works with like a company called Clara Analytics, which what they do is they have all of the infrastructure for holding all the data for these insurance companies that process claims. So not only are they able to like store all of the data and make that efficient, so it's like petabytes and petabytes of data, but they're able to do actuarial analysis. They're able to cut down time on claims. They're able to use AI to actually predict how different claims will play out, which is important for insurance companies, because one of the challenges that people may not understand is when they have a claim that gets filed, they immediately set aside funds. Well, their AI will look at all the information around a claim and say, you might need to set aside $5,000 for this claim, or maybe you need to set aside $500,000 for this claim. And it can be very deceiving when the claim comes in, because one example was, Jeff was telling me the other day, this guy cut his finger, and so files an insurance claim. They're like, okay, cool. It's just a cut finger, $1,000 ER bill, whatever the case may be. We'll set that aside. Well, it turns out that this was such a disfigurement that this guy wasn't going to be able to go back to his manual trades, his labor job. And so that meant that this, what looked like a paper cut on paper turned out to be a life-changing, disabling issue. And so the AI actually caught it before the humans did at the insurance company and said, hey, you need to set aside way more money than you're setting aside by default for this claim as it comes in the door. So anyways, my point being, there's really great practical uses for AI, and every time my insurance premiums go up, I call and yell at Jeff. But
especially as a guy who has a lot of insurance, Alan. Can I mention a lot of insurance? You said the small paper cut. James, I have a remodeling and handyman company, and I have 30 employees. And when you say paper cut and little cut across the finger, I actually started to wince. I'm like, oh God, here we go. Yep. Doesn't know what I do. Oh boy, this could be ugly. I've been doing this for 18 years. For those who keep track, guys, if you're out there doing this, my mod's under 1. So that's a big thing. And we do a lot of training. We just had training again today while we're doing the pod in the morning, and we brought up safety yet again. And I ended with the mantra of training is this: don't do stupid shit.
Or at least just don't get caught.
Well, because when you do, every time I got myself hurt, I was either off my game, or I was in a hurry, or I tried to use a tool I wasn't supposed to, aka wrench for a nail, aka sawzall for a circular saw. I got a lot of AKAs, by the way. But yeah, so when you brought that up, you're right. I think in today's world, AI can help with a lot of that pre-prevention, if you will, and identification.
Yeah, it reduces the amount of time and amount of ingenuity needed for the average person at the average corporate clone to catch something, or to understand the information or gather the information to make a more informed decision. So it was really kismet. Like Jeff and I grabbed drinks, we're catching up and we're comparing notes. And of course, my stories are more interesting. His mostly involved a bunch of silicon and data centers and whatnot.
Boring.
I know, exactly. Gosh, worst case scenario, they try to put a floppy disk in a USB drive and like, that's a bad day. I don't know. But
coffee cup and a CD player. Remember that one? Probably don't. The old days when the CD would come out and they talked about guys putting drinks in them as drink holders. You ever remember this back in the towers?
So I used to work at Cox Cable in the retention department. That was another past life. Basically, I was the asshole that you talked to. Sorry if we're not allowed to curse, but you can bleep it out, I guess.
Damn
but
Phil. Yeah,
perfect, got it.
we're good.
So anyways, I was the guy that you would call and try to cancel your cable, and I was the guy that tried to talk you out of it and explain why canceling your cable was a really bad idea. So hugely popular in my community. But we had this one guy who called in. He goes, I want to cancel my service. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And we're trying to figure out like, what's the issue? And one of the things we could do is we could upgrade your service. Like, you have the bundles with, back then it was phone, TV, internet. And, back then it was like, okay, well, you have an internet plan that's like really slow. It's our lowest end one. If you keep your TV service, I'll help you save a little bit of money on your bundle, but I can also increase your speeds for you. And he goes, well, but then how would I get my bathroom break? What? And he explains that he said, well, you have to understand, I'm a retiree and I have a very structured day. And so when I wake up in the morning, I make my coffee, I open the CD drive, I put my cup of coffee on the CD or the coffee holder, and then I go to the bathroom. And by the time I'm back, my internet's up and running, my computer's up and running, everything's good to go. I have everything timed perfectly. My life is orchestrated. If you speed up my internet, it's going to move faster, and I'm going to have to like cut my bathroom break in half. And this guy couldn't get past it. Like, he was convinced that like, just because something was faster, he had to alter the rest of his life and his morning routine. So anyways, when you said the CD drive as the coffee cup holder,
I love that story because I've got like 100 more of these.
Yep.
You're like, did I mention that I got into a B2C business and I had no idea about working with the general public? I had no idea.
Oh, God.
And how'd that go? 18 years later, I'm still just baffled. I got even more baffled yesterday on another one. And it's just, you're looking at people, you're like, I can't help you. You are unhelp. You're you know what? Where's that 6'2" looking for the place where people go down? I'm starting to build a grave. I mean, this chick was crazy, bro. I'm telling you, she was off the rails. You're like, nope, this is not going to work, man. And you can't help people like that. But you talk about the James. Let's get back to you and Overland Venture Partners. I love this.
No, you're bringing back all sorts of memories, because I also worked at Best Buy at one point. I think everybody should have to work in retail for a certain period of their life just to understand what it means to have to deal with the general public and be captive to whoever walks through that door. And so you'd have like the gamut of people that would walk through. It'd be, y'all got that Wi-Fi? It's like, Wi-Fi? Like, are you talking about the internet? Yeah, the Wi-Fi. And it's like, okay, well, let me walk over and let me show you how the Netgear works. And the Kisco is a great router, and we'd have all sorts of fun with them. But you can't help it. You have to work with who's coming through the door, and you have to figure out how to solve their problem, and maybe have some fun along the way. But you still have to be able to provide a good service, because they're just going to complain and go to corporate. Or if you're a small business, there's going to go all over your Yelp and all your Google reviews, and all of a sudden you've got a nightmare from a social media standpoint. So
100%.
Yeah, it's really a captive audience. So anyways, circling it back over to the more recent. So Jeff and I were comparing notes. We're like, what could we do if we combine all of our experiences together? And I said, well, we can give Megatron a better erection. We can figure out how to like use some really cool technology and really do cool stuff. But he's like, well, no, if we take AI and we take those quiz funnels that we use to really hockey stick our sales and in the direct to consumer channel. And that's one thing I'm sure you've run into this on websites. You hit a website, it says, hey, take this quick quiz to see if our product's the right fit for you, and then enter your email to see the results. And so the reason marketers do that is now they're gathering information about you plus your email address, which means they can reach out to you without having to pay anyone else any money, and then retarget you with an email flow that makes sense, that kind of educates you across the finish line. It's a really effective marketing strategy. But, what I said to Jeff is like, what if we could take that strategy and make it conversational? So instead of me answering the same 4 questions or going through a multiple choice, you have a conversation with AI, with a chatbot, basically. And so that was where we started. We were like, okay, let's figure out how to do that. So we did. The problem was when we built out that system just using off-the-shelf AI tools and kind of stringing things together just to make a rough beta launch, it cost us $800 in compute to run the test traffic through that funnel. So it's like you would die by success, because the amount of compute and tokens and things that you'd have to pay for to power the back end of this thing in the cloud, it just wasn't sustainable. So then we're like, okay, well, that sucks. That's not going to work. So what do? And that's when we kind of went quiet for about 6 months, and we started working on how do we allow people to take advantage of what these huge companies are doing, which is they have these integrated cloud AWS infrastructures that they own, and they set up their own AI system. So you have the engine inside of a wrapper. So you've got the kind of the motor of the AI. Then you've got the knowledge base, which is a bunch of JSON files that it uses for reference to understand context around what you're asking it. And then it connects into all of your data islands. So when you ask it a question, it goes to the knowledge base, says, do I know this already? If not, it'll go to the different computers, different hard drives, different places, try to find the answer. But the point is, all of that happens on your infrastructure. So you're not sending data off to a third party that might be proprietary. You're connecting it into something that you own end to end. And so I was like, well, that sounds really cool. Why don't more companies do that? And he goes, well, it costs so much money to do that. I'm like, cool, but what if we made a version for the average business owner? And so that's what we did, was we built out this system that we can spin up. And so when it comes to AI and technology, we've really focused on how to solve some real problems rather than just theoretically sitting around and going, well, I think the market would like this. And wouldn't it be cool if we built this product? It's like, no, let's actually partner with business owners, see what they need. So that's one example of the AI side of things, and having, a tech wizard on the team being able to do really cool things allowed us to build out. So that's one tool that we've been doing, but we call it venture partners because our goal is for the average business out there, if you're trying to figure something out, whether it's compliance, financial, operational, marketing, technology, all those things, we have a pretty diverse team of people who A, trust each other, but B, have a long work history together and know that everyone knows their stuff on the team to be able to solve complex issues, whatever comes across the table. We can kind of be that business owner's best friend and be like, I'd solve this.
All right, give me one example of a problem we had that you guys have solved.
Yeah. So one example is for law firms. So they deal with personal injury firms, especially. They deal with a ton of people calling in and saying, I was in a car accident and this happened, and the person wants to spend 45 minutes on the phone because it's very emotional and they're all jarred up and they're explaining all these details. What people don't realize is personal injury firms, they often have conflicts with, whoever else was in the accident. So like if they had represented them in the past, or if they had a relationship with a trucking company that hit you, or whatever the case may be, there's all sorts of instances where they can be conflicted out. Even though they want to help you, they legally cannot because they have a competing interest. So there's that, but there's also the challenge of, did the accident occur in a geographic area that we're licensed to practice law in? Or was the accident even something in an area of law that we cover, that we handle? So all these different things mean that 45-minute conversation that somebody wants to have is often for naught. It's a waste of time, and you've burnt that labor inside of your team. Someone sitting on the phone with this person for 45 minutes only to discover you can't help them for whatever reason. And so what we did was we built out a tool that's kind of an intake tool. So people go onto these personal injury firms' websites, they chat in with the bot, say, here's what happened. The bot interviews them, has a conversation. This can also be done over voice. And then from there the bot creates a brief and says, okay, and it does some basic, like very rudimentary checks to see if there's anything flagged right away. But if not, it then schedules a time for you to talk to an actual person in the very near future, like, hey, are you available today at 2:00 to talk to so-and-so? And so at that point, it not only understands all the stuff without having to have a human from the firm sit there and, talk through it all, but then it also has a briefing of everything that was discussed so that the person doesn't have to reinvent the wheel when they get on the phone with the human from the firm. And then that person at the firm that's going to be able to handle that intake has a briefing of everything that was discussed. So they're able to more efficiently have that conversation and go from, take a 45-minute conversation down to like 5 minutes of, can we help you or not? And if we can, here's the best solution to help you. It just makes things more efficient. So it's not about, AI is not necessarily about replacing jobs. It's about making those people who do those jobs that are very repetitive, handling those calls over and over again, making them 10 times more efficient so that you want to hire more people to do that job. And it makes the job more enjoyable than just sitting there and eating someone's details for 45 minutes only to discover you can't help them.
Alan, you've heard me say this before. I attribute a quote to Elon Musk. Lazy owners, lazy business people will cut because of AI. Smart business owners will grow because of AI and increase the employee efficiency. So he's not advocating for cutting people. He's advocating for growing your business. And I 100% agree with this. I think this is the way to go. And so you guys are helping take big technology down to, of course, you pick on a personal injury. So one of the things, before we continue, I just want James to know, because I know he'll appreciate this humor. As a handyman, I have a billboard on a very small rural area of Georgia. And it says, "We bought this billboard so you didn't see another personal injury lawyer up here. Call us, the Trusted Toolbox, for all your home needs." So,
I love it.
Not yet. You will. I have it designed. We talked about this, and it's gotten a lot of.
It's really affordable to do that too, because they have fractional billboards now, especially the digital ones, so you don't have to pay for an entire billboard 24/7. So we used to prank people at the office. We had these billboards near the office that would pop up, and so we'd find these really like our marketing guy at work. He would redone his bathroom, and he had a picture of he brought the toilet out to the driveway, the old one. And he's sitting there and he just like has this pose like he's thinking about something, and someone took a picture of it and it was like a joke. So we obviously hung that in the bathroom at the office, but on top of that, we also paid for one of those billboards for like every 10 minutes for 20 seconds. It was a picture of Dan up there sitting on the toilet, just staring up at the sky. And it was right on the way to work. So you knew that people who knew Dan would see it. It was great.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
So James, as you guys are growing this thing, you're working with your buddy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another success story. What's a big story you got? We're coming up in the end. Then we're going to have to get the rapid fire.
Yeah. Really, the focus right now, the success story to me is we're building something that people that I know and trust and care about, kind of what you might call your chosen family. And if you're a business owner, you know what this means. I mean, these are the people who really have made a positive impact on your business. And there are people who show up and actually give a darn and think about things 2 or 3 steps ahead before they do it and come up with, some good ideas now and then. I've worked with such amazing people, and you can't succeed in business without a team around you. So my goal with Overlang and kind of the success story that we're building is I'm bringing all these people along for the ride that are really solid people who will not have to worry about like, hey, do I have a job? Do I have the ability to, not be replaced by AI because we have an AI component to what we do? Or do I have the ability to offer my expertise and get out from all the layers that might be between you and that next consulting gig? Let's build a team that works together that solves that. And it's a system that is able to outlive me. So it's something that at the end of the day, we're building something that's going to provide income and financial fruits for everyone involved in a way that's sustainable, that's, good people doing good things for other businesses. So that's the focus. And that to me is the ultimate success story of being able to build something for good people to actually securely take care of other people the right way, rather than just a bunch of gimmicky, quick AI flipper cells or whatever. I mean, people, all these guys that were like experts on Bitcoin last year and real estate the year before that, now they're out there in the AI world. And it's like, ugh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. It's just terrible. But people buy from them because they like them.
Find somebody who knows what they're talking about with AI, because you're right. I mean,
yeah,
every new thing that comes along, you've got these experts that show up, and there's somebody who just decided to hang out their shingle. And how do you sort the wheat from the chaff?
Yeah, it's actually easier than you might think. And what I like to do is I like to sit down with people and have a conversation. And do you have the heart of a teacher? And do you actually understand the internal workings of what you're building? So if someone's coming to me and says, hey, I have this AI solution for you, it's perfect for your business, and what they're doing is just focusing on benefit, but they're not really able to talk about the underlying tech and how it happens, or they're not able to explain, hey, this is where you might not want to use this technology because it doesn't really fit your use case or your team or how your organization operates. If you can't have those kinds of conversations and come away from a consultation feeling like you learned something beyond just about their product, but learned something about technology, learned something about AI, that's somebody who probably doesn't have the expertise or the skill set to right size the solution. And on top of that, if they can't point to a team that they directly work with, if all they're doing is reselling some company's software or some company's technology, they're not going to have a direct relationship with the people on that team. They're not going to be able to get you on the team on a call with the actual solution engineers and be able to have that in-depth conversation. So just avoid those people. Like, they might be fun to hang out with and have a bourbon with, but they're not people who should be making really important decisions for your business from a technology standpoint.
We're still cool. We can still do bourbon, and we kind of know our stuff. All right. James Lang, how can everybody find you? Let's go get it out there.
Yeah. So if you're a business owner and you're trying to figure out, like, how do I make all this technology make sense? How do I take my business to the next level? And you want to work with a bunch of people who've already done that in various spaces, you go to Overlang, overlang.com. That's the easiest way. And then the other option is just look me up on LinkedIn, James Lang, Lang. Get a lot of connections there, and I try to respond to every message. I get lots of messages, but I do eventually respond to all of them.
Guys, I'm hooked up with them too. I have not actually going to try to go back and forth with you on LinkedIn, but I'm sure you will, because you can tell you're a great guy. Everybody, overlang.com. Go check them out on LinkedIn. But James, we got to hit you with the final 4 questions. You ready?
Okay, let's see.
All right, here we go. What's a book you would recommend to all of our audience? The Small Business Team. We're the adventure team. We're trying to make it up that mountain. Get to the top mountaintop. Do what you did. Get the big exit. Here we go. What's a book you would recommend?
So I would start with, there's 2. The AI-Driven Leader by Jeff Woods is a great book that teaches you how to use AI as a thought partner and utilize it in a way that reduces the amount of time you spend gathering information, brainstorming ideas, thinking about how to systemize things without giving away your agency and your independent thought, because you have to treat AI like a thought partner. It cannot replace you. It cannot make decisions for you. You have to be the one in control, because AI is just a butt-kissing employee. It'll do whatever you want. It'll do whatever it thinks is going to make you happy. And that's not what you need in critical infrastructure. But if you use it the right way, you can gain new perspective. And anyways, that's a great book to just get up to speed on AI.
Alan, you wanted Napoleon Hill. You wanted something else, right? You wanted something.
AI as a butt-kissing employee could be a great title for this.
Oh, there we go. Skip it.
It is
butt-kissing employee. All right, what's your other book?
Yeah, so anything by Chris Voss. So he has a great book. I think it's called Never Split the Difference. But phenomenal guy. Yeah. So highly recommend.
All right. Number 2 question. What's the favorite feature of your own home?
Of my own home?
The books.
It would probably be the fact that, I can lock the door and, leave the world behind and not have a bunch of people run through it. I'm simple. I just want to be left alone.
I want to be left alone.
Yeah.
Jake's like, I want to be left alone, but I go on podcasts. Guys, he's getting out there, clearly an introvert. Bullshit. The guy's a great talker. He's a lot of fun. He thinks he's introverted. He really isn't.
Gregarious introvert.
That's our buddy right over here, Alan Wyatt. He goes, you know what? Introverts make the best friends. That's why I hang with him.
Because I let you talk.
What? Shut up, Alan. Keep going. All right. So what's one of the things that you're out there, you're the customer, and we all love being customers. We talked about this a little bit. But Al and I are kind of customer service freaks. I mean, crazy about it. What's a customer service pet peeve of yours?
Oh gosh. Okay, so I've had to deal a lot with the medical space as a patient over the last few years, and I absolutely hate the fact that for some reason it seems like people who are learning English as their fifth language end up as the people that answer phone calls. And so when you're trying to like schedule appointments, figure out things, and it's like, oh my God, and God help you if you need to talk about billing and understanding why something was calculated some way, because not only do they not speak English, but they can't do math. So it's a nightmare scenario. So that's my pet peeve. If you're gonna put somebody in a customer facing role, they need to be able to actually efficiently help the person and not create just incredible amounts of time and energy suck on the other end for the customer.
Time and energy suck.
Amen.
Love that one. All right, James. So I'm in the home repair business. I am a remodeling business. I want a DIY nightmare story. You said I can do this myself, and wow, it went way worse than I thought.
Gosh, there's so many. So I think back to, okay, there's this project in our office. We kept getting this alarm that our fire suppression system wasn't working properly. And so, okay, no big deal. We called the fire department. They came out and looked at it and said, oh no, it's just a problem with this one head on this one dispersal unit, that if you replace that, the alarm will go off. And so, it being LA, we had all sorts of, very expensive quotes come out that wanted to solve that issue for us. And so we said, no, I mean, we can just buy the part and swap it out ourselves. Well, we end up flooding an office. So that was an unfortunate event.
We have got it, Alan. We got a flooding event. Lemony Snicket's and a series of unfortunate events. You know what? James Lang, you brought the heat. You were very authentic. We always talk about that in business, right? If you're not authentic, you're not real, man. You got to be authentic. That's how shit happens. You got to make it happen. Be authentic. Get up that mountain. Let's find out what goes on. Let's go figure out how to get up there. Get in that rarefied air. Let's go make it happen one step at a time. We got to get out of here. We got to go in because of money. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Small Business Safari. Remember, your positive attitude will help you achieve that higher altitude you're looking for in the wild world of small business ownership. And until next time, make it a great day.